Course Record with Michael Breed on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Titleist, the #1 ball in golf.
Back on Course Record, I'm Michael Breed. I'm joined now by the Director of Golf Courses at Wingfoot Golf Club, the host of the U.S. Open this year, Steve Rabideau. Rabbi, it's so good to see you, my friend. This has been an amazingly challenging championship that you're now about to get to. Give me an idea of what this has been like in this preparation for an event that was supposed to take place in June, and now it's going to be in September.
Yeah, you said it. It's been crazy. I mean, thankfully it's going to happen. When you plan for so long for a June U.S. Open, and then the world gets upended with COVID, and you don't know if it's going to happen or not. Is it going to happen at Winged Foot? We didn't know if it was going to happen there. Was it going to be moved? Then when was it going to be at Winged Foot? Was it going to be in July or August or September? And then thankfully we got the word that it was going to be held at Winged Foot in September. But then there was, what was it going to look like? But I tell you, there's some buzz going on here now, thankfully, that we see it's going to happen. And, at the end of it, there's going to be a champion, which is what it's all about.
Champions are made from these types of moments, which is great challenges. And you and I go back a long, long way. We've known each other for a while. I know the work ethic that you have, how you walk every single hole of both golf courses at Wingfoot in preparation for daily play. This is going to be a little bit different. The day's going to be a little bit shorter as it's into September. We know that offers a number of challenges, but give the viewers a little bit of an idea of some of the things that you and your staff are going to face, not only leading up to this U.S. Open, but also during the week of.
Well, yeah, I mean, June Open is a great time for a U.S. Open. It's right before the summer. It's at prime time. The golf courses haven't really started stressing yet or anything. You move that June Open till September, man, now you got to get through July, August, part of September. You got to get through the heat of the summer. And Open at Winged Foot is definitely known for the rough, right? Old classic open venue, narrow fairways, thick rough. For us, it was really trying to keep the rough healthy all summer long, which was a challenge because it's so important for a U.S. Open.
As this now almost comes to be, now for you, for Steve Rabideau, what does it mean to you and your staff to be a part of this significant championship?
Well, I tell people that hosting the U.S. Opens in the game of golf has to be equal to being in a Super Bowl, right? It's our Super Bowl in golf. It's definitely an honor, to be here at Winged Foot every day. It's just such a great place in golf, and the people that have walked these fairways and the traditions here and the passion that these members here, as have for the game of golf. Do this with all of my guys. We're going to look back on 2020 at some day and be like, wow, what a year. COVID, moving everything, all the obstacles. So it's going to be special. It's definitely different. It wasn't what any of us thought. It wasn't what any of us had planned for. But through the adversity and everything this year, there'll be a champion at the end, and hopefully it'll be great.
A number of players have already been over to the golf course to Winged Foot to play through the past couple of weeks. Justin Thomas, who had not played there before, said that this golf course is already one of, if not his favorite golf course. What makes Winged Foot so special?
Well, I think to that right there, that none of these young guys have played. It's a classic U.S. Open venue. This is the 6th U.S. Open. It's got length, narrow fairways. The greens are just awesome, right? The greens they're sloped back to front. They have undulations in them. You're better off missing short, because if you miss long or left to right, chipping out of the thick rough, it's a test of golf from the start to the finish. There's no let up here, and that's proven time and time. There's only been one Open that's been under par.
All right, so now the question is, and you knew this one was coming. You said there's only been one Open that's been under par. Will this Open be an under par score, or will the rough? And I think you told me before when we have talked offline that you're hoping to have the rough at about 5.5 or 6 inches at the start of the week or through the week. I assume that's still the intention. And if that is the case, what's going to be the winning score?
Yeah, I don't think the winning score will be under par. Just saw John Rahm said something that he says he doesn't think the score will be under par at Winged Foot, and if it is, one person's running away with the Open. I just saw that quoted somewhere today. So, with that 5-inch rough and Mother Nature helps out and we get some cool nights and firm, fast conditions, I don't think so. It's over par for sure.
Rabbi, I appreciate the time, my friend. Now, a guy you've spent a lot of time with, Mike Gilmore, the head golf professional at Winged Foot, joins me now. Mike, you heard Rabbi. He says it's going to be over par. Do you think the winning score is going to be over par?
Mike, I definitely think it's going to be over par. I said that all along with the way the course is going to be set up. I think the USGA is looking to have an old school challenging Open. Course is going to play about 7,500 yards. The fairways are tight. The green speeds are going to be very quick, as I understand from the USGA. And, the green complexes are intimidating. It's Winged Foot. It's the US Open. As the tournament goes along, those green complexes become more and more intimidating. You second guess yourself. I got to pinpoint my irons into the hole. And then there's the driving. You got to drive the ball in the fairway to probably the most narrow fairways we've had in the last few years in the US Open.
And the fairways have a little bit of movement. I'm thinking number 12 is one that's going to be very difficult to find the fairway. You've played in 2 U.S. Opens. You've played in 2 PGA Championships, and most recently a U.S. Senior Open, although nobody's going to think you're a senior when they see that face. But give me an idea. Exactly right, you handsome devil. Give me an idea of what makes these fairways so difficult to hit, 12, 15, etc.
With Winged Foot, you got to pick your angles, mostly on every hole except 9. That's the straightest. I can never hit that fairway because it's the straightest tee shot on the golf course. Usually you're working it off some bunker or some tree. So they're going to have to pick their angles, and they're going to need distance control on their drives.
Let's talk about how a U.S. Open will play in September versus its normal time frame in June, and specifically at Winged Foot. What is this golf course? How does it change, if at all, between June and September?
Well, we were worried about the rough. Steve Rabideau was worried about this hot summer that we've had and the texture of the rough, and he's done a phenomenal job. Him and his team have done an amazing job. You would think that the rough is June rough the way it looks. It's healthy, it's thick, so we don't have that factor. We were worried about it getting thin. That time of year we can get some dry conditions and the greens can really speed up with wind. So we got to watch. It could, if we get some windy, dry days out here, it's going to be hard to hit the fairways and it's going to be hard to hold the greens.
When you talk about holding the greens, I've had the chance to play out there a number of times. You obviously there almost every day getting a chance to look at this property. I think one of the keys to being successful, not just what you said about being able to get the ball up into the air and apex it pretty high, but also too, being able to keep the ball underneath these very treacherous hole locations on greens that are really kind of throwback greens. As you go out to go play, how important is it to keep the ball underneath the hole?
It's probably the most important thing here at Winged Foot. You've got to definitely keep it under the hole, and if you hit it long, you bring double into play on every single hole here, basically, except maybe 9. So that's key. That's where the greens complexes, they weigh on you. And then you have the spin control issue on some of the shorter holes. You got to watch. If you hit a spinner in there, it could spin off the greens. So, these greens keep you on your toes. They keep you thinking.
The mindset of the player coming into playing a U.S. Open where, as both you and Steve Rabideau have said, over par is going to be the winning score. That means there's going to be a fair amount of frustration that these players are going to face. How important is it to keep your mindset at an even keel during a U.S. Open?
If you find yourself in trouble in a U.S. Open, you have to take your medicine. Most of the greens here are open in the front, so you think you can get on the green, but I think the rough that we're going to have, they're going to have to be really careful with their decision making. If the lie looks suspect, I would just get it out in the fairway, hit it up on the green, and take your luck trying to make a par with your putter.
I'll leave you with one last question. I know as a golf professional, particularly in the metropolitan section, what Winged Foot means to not just the metropolitan section, but also to the world of golf. You drive into those gates every single day, and you can't help but be reminded of Claude Harmon, Tom Neoporti, and here's Mike Gilmore. What is it like for Mike Gilmore to be the head golf professional at Winged Foot?
Mike Gilmore is the luckiest golf pro in the area right now, maybe I feel like in the world. All right. I grew up in this area. Winged Foot was always the Yankee Stadium of golf. It's the place that every young professional in the Met area and all over the world wants to be the head pro here. So I'm very, very fortunate, very lucky to be here.
You know what? We're all very lucky in the metropolitan section to call you a friend and to have you as the head golf professional at Winged Foot. I know you're going to have a great week over there, and we appreciate the time today. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thanks, pal. You're the best.
All the best. That's Mike Gilmore. Fantastic work. All right, when we come back here, you at home, you're dealing with some challenging shots as you hit those 40 to 50-yard shots into greens. The players at Winged Foot are going to face that. I'm going to show you how you can be successful with those 40 to 50-yard wedge shots next on Course Record.